Welcome to Buckets, presented by BetMGM, the king of sportsbooks. My name's Matt Moore. I'm the senior NBA writer for the Action Network, joined by Joe Dellera, back from paternity leave. He's a proud papa. He's back to give us some best bets, along with Bryan Fonseca, a.k.a. the Heat sympathizer, a.k.a. Heat Moneyline all day, a.k.a. not a Heat fan. We're going to give you best bets for Friday's game between the New York Knicks and the Indiana Pacers, as the Knicks try and secure their first conference finals appearance in, I'm checking the calendar here, a millennia. Okay, it's been 1,000 years since the Knicks have been to a conference finals game. We'll give you best bets on that game, break it all down for you. Everything we talk about can be found in the award-winning Action Network app. Best way for you to track your picks. I'm going to have intel from the draft combine. Been hearing a lot of stuff from folks out there. That'll be up next week, as well as continuing coverage. I'm going to start writing some stuff about the teams that got eliminated also, to kind of give you a look at the off seasons ahead for those teams. Plus, of course, we'll have tons of finals coverage for you, conference finals and finals, as we head down the stretch of the NBA. Also, check out youtube.com/the Action Network. This episode's going to go up on Thursday afternoon. Thursday night, we are doing a Buckets Live. It's going to be me and Michael Fiddle. We're going to break down the reaction to Knicks Pacers. We'll talk about either the Eastern Conference Finals as a first series look ahead, or a Game 7 preview. Plus, we'll talk about the Western Conference and how to bet those as well. Fiddle's always great giving us the market. It'll be me and him tonight on Buckets Live at youtube.com/the Action Network. All right. Want to let you know, by the way, the WNBA season has officially started, in our Buckets WNBA podcast with Maria Marino, Jim Turvey, Dana Mattia, and other Action Network contributors, including Jay Money, bringing you the best bets in the W every Tuesday and Friday mornings. Go download and subscribe to Buckets WNBA. It's in a new feed, so it's no longer on here. You guys want to go check that out. And if you're like, well, I don't really watch the WNBA, do you like making money? Because the Buckets crew kills it, especially early in the season before these lines sharpen. Jim annihilates these numbers. So go check out the WNBA Buckets pod. There's a link in the episode description of this podcast. All right, boys, let's get to our best bets for Friday's game between the Knicks and the Pacers. The Pacers are 5-point favorites in the market. It was 5.5 when it bumped to 5.5 for a half second, back down to 5. Total in this game is at 215.5. It opened at 217. Real quick, just before we get started, hey, Bryan, what city do you live in? I forget.
New York City.
Oh, okay,
Queens.
okay.
Queens,
so,
to be specific.
Joe Dellera, are you in like are you in like the heartland? Are you like in the middle of America? Where are you exactly?
I'm in New Jersey.
Okay. All right. So with that in mind, let's do best bets. Joe Dellera, what's your best bets for Friday's game?
So we're going to be taking the very, very far away New York Knicks plus 5.5, wherever you can get it on the spread. I'm going to be grabbing that. Might sprinkle a little money line. I like Jalen Brunson over 40.5 points plus assists. And I have a bit of a lean. I haven't decided if I'm going to bet it yet, but I have a lean on Dante DiVincenzo over 16.5 points in this game.
All right, Bryan Fonseca, what are you at on this game?
The team that's a train right away for me. I like them to cover plus 5.5. We'll go with the Knicks. I also took a little bit on the money line, but we'll go plus 5.5. And I also have a lean Miles Turner over 16.5 points, but kind of want to explore that first before I fully commit to it.
Okay. I'm going to take the over 215.5 in this contest, and that will be my play because I'm a coward. So my thing is that I am, as much as I come on here and I spout off the takes, and like I'm on all these network shows and I'm doing like the hot takes and the firm opinions. The way my brain actually works is like, I don't know, man. Like, tell me what side you want, and I can make you a case for it, because I watch all these teams and I know how good both sides are. Like, I know how many great players are on all these teams and what they're really good at. Like, there's very few teams that I'm like, there's nothing redeemable about them. It's basically just the Hornets. That's basically it. Maybe the Blazers. Like, that's basically it. Like, I think these are two pretty good teams. And I said that coming into the series. I was like, I don't think the Pacers are terrible. And everybody was that very kind of like, no, but like Knicks. And I was like, well, I don't know. The Pacers are not like terrible. And they won 2 games, and the Knicks are very banged up. OG's been hurt. That's obviously been a factor. I lean Pacers here, just as like a general. The Pacers have been great at home. Like, if you look at the spots where in spots where it's been like, man, the Pacers got to get this game at home, the Pacers have won at home. Like, that's what they've done. And so I have a hard time kind of like getting into an idea of where they're kind of at. Teams that have won game 5 with a chance to close and are dogs are 30-35 straight up, but they are 34-31, 52%, just below profitability ATS. Road teams with a chance to clinch are actually much better. 55-36 at 60%, 55-36 ATS for those teams. So the Knicks here, like, it looks like they're gonna clinch this based off of that trend. So there's a lot of value there from a trend perspective. But I will just say that, like, I lean Pacers. I'm curious to know why you guys are so confident in very unexpected ways about this New York Knicks team, Joe Dellera.
I mean, I think the big thing for me watching this game, watching this way the series has kind of progressed, for a number of different reasons, I like this spot. Brunson looked significantly healthier last game. Looked like he was moving a lot better, getting to his spots better. He had a little bit more lift on his jumper. And as a result, realistically, he was able to put the Pacers defense kind of a little bit more into a spiral. The team is not like a very good defensive team, obviously, and I can get into a little bit more of the X's and O's in a second. But the other thing is Caitlin Clark's debut with the Indiana Fever was on Thursday while we're recording this. So it's Thursday night. As a result, it's bumped this game, and the Knicks actually have an extra day of rest. So instead of having just the one day in between, they're getting that extra day, and I think that's extremely significant for a team that's a little bit banged up, that really gets extended run on a significant basis, on a regular basis, to give them an extra day of rest here. I think it's a really excellent opportunity for New York. So I think that when we look at that and we kind of couple those couple things, the Knicks are 3-1 when they've had that extra day of rest this postseason, straight up. They're 2-2 against the spread, but they've generally been favored so far this season in that spot. So I do like them. I do like them here. I think that what Indiana has been able to do defensively is going to be a little bit more difficult against the Knicks as long as Brunson's healthy. And the biggest adjustment that New York made in game 5 was they were able to get Halliburton into the action a lot more. And that's something that they've been really trying to do all series. And the way that they were able to do that is they took Precious Achiuwa out of the lineup, or out of the starting lineup. They put Miles McBride in there. And Miles McBride set more ball screens than I think he has in his entire career in one game. And they were able to attack and get Brunson loose. He was able to switch a little bit more on the Nemhard instead of having Neesmith on him, or to even try to get Halliburton in on that action. And then when Indiana was throwing doubles, that's not something that they've done. They've refused to double all season. And now suddenly we're supposed to think that that's going to be an effective strategy against the Knicks. I don't think that that's a good scenario. And I feel like Indiana's defensive counters are getting to be a little bit thinner, especially considering Brunson's health, or the seeming improvement to his health, to his foot, and that Indiana's just not really a good team. So asking them to do something different, I don't really think is going to be a palatable solution. So I like the Knicks plus 5.5, 5, and even down to a little bit on the money line.
Okay, I take issue with your cap. I don't mind the play. I take issue with the cap because you're basically, what you're saying here is, like, I don't think the Pacers can do enough defense. When the fuck has the Pacers defense been part of any cap this season and the Pacers win? Like, well, this is entirely about the offense, and it's about whether or not that the New York Knicks, missing OG Anunoby, missing Julius Randle, and missing Mitchell Robinson getting offensive rebounds, are going to be able to generate enough points. Like, that to me is the thing. In Pacers home games, here's their delta between their points scored and their team total. Okay, so the difference between how many points they scored and what their team total was: +6, +13, +8, -3 in that Nemhart Miracle game, +8.2. So you're looking at 6, 13, 8, and 8 outside of one game where the Knicks were able to kind of slow them down. The Knicks offense. So I think that here's a way to kind of position it, because I have said this pretty routinely. The Pacers, I said this all year about the Pacers. The Pacers, if you are a defense team that can't score, they will outpace you. They'll just score enough. If you're an offense team that can't defend, they will outscore you, because if you can't defend them at all, they'll just run away from you. So the question now is just, like, the balanced teams are the ones that fuck the Pacers up. Those teams ruin the Pacers. That's why the Celtics will absolutely annihilate them if they were to get out of the series. The question is, like, are the Knicks that team?
So,
because with as much missing personnel, I think that's an interesting question here.
Yeah, so I mean, I think to give a little bit of pushback, I think that the defense matters though for Indiana because it looked like they were able to do things to disrupt New York to a degree, but I think a lot of it had to do with the fact they were saying like, "Oh, Neesmith, we're going to put Neesmith on Brunson. He's going to stop Brunson." I think Brunson just wasn't really that healthy, so I think that that goes directly into the defense. And when we look at what's been really helpful for New York has been when they do score, when the offense is successful, they've been able to get back. They're not as like scrambled. They're not getting put as much in transition. They're able to set up the defense. So I think that that adjustment, along with having Miles McBride, I think is a little bit better of a defensive option here in this spot of the series. I know that Josh Hart kind of struggled on Pascal Siakam, but the Knicks kind of flipped the matchup. They put Hartenstein on Siakam, and Hart's been playing a little bit more on Miles Turner. So I think that what the Knicks have been able to do is because Indiana can't stop them defensively, they're able to get more buckets now that they're a little bit more rested. Brunson's a little bit healthier, couple more days removed from that injury. So I think that what Indiana was able to do in terms of limiting Brunson specifically on defense, I think it was a little bit just more because of the injury to Brunson as opposed to anything scheme wise or anything like that. And I think that I don't really think they have an option. I don't really think that they have a way to stop New York. And if New York is able to get buckets, it's going to make it a lot harder for Indiana to get out in transition and run against a relatively tired New York team.
I mean, so my thing is just like you're basically saying like, why will the offense be good? Because Jalen Brunson rules.
I mean,
and I'm
he
like,
does.
he does, like, right? Like Knicks rule, all. Brunson had 44 last game. He had 18 in that miserable performance where, and he did not even play like what he played only like
30 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah. He only played like 38 minutes or something. And so in the game before he had 26, that's not a bad game. It's not Brunson, but it's not a bad game. He had 29 in the previous one. He had 43 and 41 and the Knicks won those games. I get that. So basically let's put it this way. Is a pretty reasonable play here to be Brunson 40 plus and Knicks money line? Isn't that a pretty good same game parlay?
Probably. That's been part why I like the 40.5 points plus assists. So I think that the scoring is going to come. The 29 points was kind of insane. I think that game he missed like a quarter and a half and he put up 29 because that was the game that he hurt his foot and really only played a couple minutes in the first quarter. And then he missed the rest of the first half and then came back. I think that was a little bit more driven off of adrenaline as opposed to the next two games. I think he just really didn't look himself. Now, in game 5, he looked much more spry. He was moving a little bit better. He had a little bit more lift to his jump shot. And the reason I like the points plus assists is he had 7 assists in game 5, but he had 18 potentials, which was sky high. And the reason I like this is that Indiana did start, like I said, they started to try to double, and it didn't really work too well for them. And all these high ball screens that Miles McBride was setting, it was able to help him switch, get Nembhard on him. And then if Indiana was throwing some help, whether it was, whether Neesmith was trying to fight there and get into the double, Brunson's a great passer still, and he's able to create with his gravity to generate looks for his teammates. So I like the fact that they have McBride on the floor instead of Precious Achiuwa. He's a better shooter. He's somebody that you have to respect a little bit more, but also somebody that can actually score off of a Brunson pass, especially when he's the guy setting the ball screen. So I like the points plus assists as a way that Brunson can kind of score himself, because I don't really think that Indiana's shown that they have a real solution for him. And I also like the assists because if they do try to send some doubles, that's a way for him to break the Pacers defense even more.
If they hit shots.
Sure. But I mean, Indiana's,
yeah, but let's be real here though. Like it's 3-pointers. Like it are Dante DiVincenzo and Josh Hart going to continue being Klay Thompson?
Well, Dante's been bad the last 2 games. Like he hasn't been good. And the Knicks are still making the shots. So, the thing about Dante is he's super streaky, and in the first half, and this is part of why I was looking at his points prop, because it's come down a lot. It was like 23.5 the other day, and now we're looking at 16.5. And the reason is because in the second half, they've kind of been switching and using a little bit more McBride, a little bit more Alec Burks in the second half of these games because they've kind of gotten hot. But Dante is still given plenty of run in the first half. The first half volume for Dante is the same. And what I've kind of noticed is just like Tibbs is saying, well, we're just going to ride the hot hand here. In one game, it was a blowout. In the second game, it was like, well, let's just ride who's playing well. Let's ride who's shooting well. Dante was still getting up 10 shots, 11 shots in the first half of games 4 and 5. And I think that just based on the way Dante's been throughout his career, throughout his time even in New York, he has these hot streaks. He scores a lot of points. Then he kind of falls back down to earth. But then, the pressure's off of him again, and then he starts scoring again. So 16.5, I think, is a little bit of an overreaction based off of what he's done so far and what the volume is. For a guy that can shoot the way that he can, getting 10 first half looks in both of these games, and he's still playing in the second half. It's not like he's not playing, but he winds up kind of getting moved out of the rotation based on who's hot or who's not.
I'm looking at an SGP over on BetMGM.
Oh, this is fun. We got you here.
So we do Brunson 40 plus, an alt under or alt over 5+ assists, the Knicks money line, and the over 215.5. So basically the idea is like,
Jesus,
the Knicks offense cooks. Hey,
yeah,
we're just looking at it, Fonseca. That's 1050.
Hey.
Brunson 40 plus, Knicks money line, total over 215.5, and Brunson 5+ dimes. Brian, which of those legs would you like to take out?
40 is a lot, man. Like, I know he's done it twice this series, and I know Jalen Brunson's
But
basically
he's the
Allen
entire
Iverson
offense.
now.
I was just told they're going to score so many points is because
I know he's basically Allen Iverson now, but I mean, like 40 again.
If you're going to go, no half measures, sir. No half measures.
That's probably the one. I mean, but for me, it's like it's more about the rebounding battle for me, because the Knicks. I don't know if they've lost a game in the playoffs when winning the rebounding battle, or at the very least, every game that they've won the rebounding battle. And I think this is going to be a close game. But whose late game execution do I have more faith in? I have more faith in the Knicks being able to just jack up shots and crash the offensive glass. Like, their offense gets really stagnant. Jalen Brunson has to throw up a prayer, or whoever else. They just throw up at many times a bad shot, and then just go get the offensive rebound, reset. And it's like, all right, here's another possession. Shoot, get the offensive rebound, reset. Like, I just think they can do that to the Indiana Pacers to death. They're out rebounding them 44 per game to 38 per game this series. It was 53-29 last time out. We just saw the Knicks win a rebounding battle in a road game 6 last series against the Philadelphia 76ers, a team that had Joel Embiid. Pascal Siakam, who has been effective this series, has not been the rebounder that I think the Pacers have needed to compete with the Knicks. And I think we could be looking at a game where Josh Hart has, 12 rebounds, and Isaiah Hartenstein has another 16, and this person has this. And I just think it's one of those things that I'm looking at. Okay, if this is going to be a close game, and the Pacers led at halftime each of the first 4 games of the series. Last game was actually the first time the Knicks led at halftime, which I thought was a damning thing for the Pacers, and it looked like a game that was going to get away, and it did. I think this is going to be closer. Pacers first half money line is actually like an interesting play, but the reason why I think the Knicks cover and potentially ultimately win is because of the rebounding battle. I just don't think the Pacers can keep up with them and have the facilities to keep them off the glass, because they haven't demonstrated that outside of when they blew them out in game 4.
Yeah, and this is I think this is a blind spot for me, is I just continue to be like, you can't build a house out of offensive rebounds. And the Knicks keep being like, but what if we did?
You know what you can build a house out of, though? Bricks.
What if we just made the entire house out of offensive rebounds? Just like bricked it up and then layered it in with some offensive rebounds. And I just continue to be like, no, like, but what if this is the challenge for me, is like, I just keep being like, but what if the other team tries? Like, that's where I get really wrapped up here. Is just like, what if the other team tries? Like, why can't the other team just try? Why is this not? And the answer is just like, no one's going to try as hard as the Knicks. No one is going to try as hard as the Knicks do.
It's like, why aren't they?
Also, though, I mean, the Pacers aren't exactly known for their rebounding. Like, none of those guys are, right?
Sure, so, it's more a matter of like, if you were just told like, hey, we really need to not let them do this. Like, we just need to not like you can win this series if they just have to actually like execute and hit shots.
Yeah.
and then every team is like, it's like a lot of effort. I don't know. I think we should just like let Josh Hart do whatever he wants. That sounds more fun. And I'm like, okay.
Miles Turner is the what best rebounder in the series? Like, is he even top 4?
Okay, but I want to be real on this on the Turner stuff to defend Miles here. Turner,
I like Miles Turner for what
Yes,
Miles
same,
is
but
playing at level and on switches a lot, and they're actively moving him out.
yeah,
Like
that's and that's not his job. It's never been his job to rebound.
But that's the thing. It's like if the point is if it's not him, and if Siakam is not really like where are the rebounds coming from? Like where are they going to actually box out, put bodies on the Knicks, and disallow
like
them?
You would think it would be like
things?
a guy like Neesmith, but he's on Brunson, so like it's not going to be him. So like that's my point about like the rebounding. It's like I don't think that Indiana has like the people. They don't have the dudes to do it. They have Jackson, but like they're not running him 40 minutes a night. And the couple games that they did, I think it was the minutes were like relatively successful. I think the Isaiah Jackson minutes were fine, but like that, I think it throws up the entire rest of their process though. Just because he's not really like an offensive type of dude, and it lets the Knicks play a little bit more Precious Achua, I think, which I think that Indiana doesn't necessarily want from like a rebounding perspective either.
Want to guess who has the highest offensive rebound percentage in this series?
Josh Hart,
Isaiah Jackson, 16.5. But he doesn't play enough.
Yeah,
he doesn't play enough because other than that, it's like Hartenstein 16.2, Precious Achua 15.5, Mitchell Robinson for the brief cameo he had in the series was 12.3, and then you get to Pascal Siakam who's around 10.
All right, Knicks money line over 215.5, Brunson 5+ dimes, and Brunson over 34.5 because Bryan Fonseca is a coward is plus 675.
That's still really good.
That's not crazy. Okay. That's not
crazy.
Wait.
Wait. If we throw in Pacers money line, we jump to first half. Pacers money line first half. We jump to 20-1.
Oh, that negative correlation is
a negative correlation, baby. So like, look, here's the thing. I understand some of the commentary that is based off of same game parlays. I get it, but they are very popular with people. Mm-hmm. And the other thing I would say is just like, look, I think they're fun to talk about from this perspective. I don't think that they're not serious wagers. Your serious wagers for this game are Knicks plus 5.5. Joe, why are you not on the money line?
I'm playing it. I sprinkled it, but like I'm not taking it straight up. Like I think,
why?
Or like I'm sprinkling it.
Why not just play money line? What is the scenario in which they do not cover in the like? What does that look like?
I think
in which they cover and don't win.
Another prayer jumper from 3.
Oh, or that, yeah.
I don't want to hear about ref show from a team that literally is only in the conference finals because of the officiating.
No, but I do think that there's like a scenario where Indiana just lays it out like all out on the table, and it's still a close game, and Indiana is able to win. It's a home game, got the home crowd. Maybe it's close. It's tough. I think it's tough. Like my biggest thing was the rest, and I think the rest is super significant, and it ties into the rebounding as well. Where if you're going to have your guys be on fresh legs going for rebounds, I want that for the New York Knicks more than I want it for pretty much any other team in the league.
Pacers first half money line and Knicks game money line parlay is plus 330 in one prominent book. For what it's worth.
No, like the half game, full game.
Yeah, because I do think the Pacers like first. I don't know if you guys agree, but Pacers first half money line is something like I would consider because this is their chance. They got off to a strong start at home, and then the Knicks sort of do what they because that's happened. Like they've won the first half 4 times in this series.
I just don't know like what's up with Halliburton. I just don't get it. Like I know he's hurt to some degree, but like. He goes out.
How long are you going to be hurt for?
But he goes out and has these crazy games at home. And like, I love Halliburton. You guys know that. Like he has these crazy games at home and then just completely no shows in game 5. Like,
I think I tried to explain this. Sean Little called them heartless, which I will take issue with him. I don't think that the Pacers are heartless. They just don't have an edge. This is their first playoff run. And so like Halliburton is just not used to facing these in like a road environment in which the other team is like jumping all over you. And like he'll come back better from this. I have a lot of confidence in that. It takes young guys a little bit to be like, holy shit.
Agree.
Like the Knicks just play so hard. Like they play so hard, and that's such a credit to them.
Because it's interesting because like he was great in game 2, which was a road game, but it was like Brunson went out. So it's like I think a little bit of the energy like got sucked out of the building.
Yeah.
And then like he was great at home, like awesome at home. Yeah. And then you go on the road.
He was not good in game 5 versus the Bucks.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like it depends. Like if Halliburton shows up, that's the way the Pacers win. Like if Halliburton goes out there and he makes like 6 threes because he's capable of doing it.
That's kind of my angle on Pacers. I'm not going to take it after talking to you guys. I'll go ahead and play this same game parlay, and I'll take the next money line, etc. And I'll blame you when it loses. But I do like my thought process was like, look, I've seen the Pacers here where they looked like shit in game 5, and then they came back and rolled in game 6 at home.
Yeah,
like they've been great at home.
Granted, I think the pressure is different. Because like the pressure in that, like I think against Milwaukee it was a little bit different, just based on the fact that they were up, they were trying to close it out.
There's a little bit of front running from Indiana. Like that's kind of what I'm getting at. They're a little bit more comfortable being in a front running spot. But that said, like also I don't know if the Knicks are not good in a front running spot because they haven't been down in this, like they haven't had to face that. No. They haven't been in like a oh shit moment yet.
2-2 was the closest with no OG Anunoby at home.
That's not really
because you had to win, but like you're at home
and you're also facing the 6th seed. And Joe, look, my man, in the playoffs in a 3-2 spot on the road as a dog. Okay, so road dogs, game 6 and a closeout. When they cover. Joe, it's 36-3. This is Matt Mitchell rule here, bud.
Oh, all right. So we're taking the money line. Just give it to me.
Thank you.
I already took it. So
Brian's there.
Yeah,
I
bet
I put it in the app. It's in the app.
I bet it at the open, and then I was like, "Is this too homer? Can I publicize this?" And then now we know that it's not.
No. I'm trying to. There are people in our Action Network Slack. I'm trying to get to be less homers, and I'm actually trying to morph into an evil version of Joe that's more of a homer. So, and Jim Turvey, I need to stay right where he is.
I just want to be a Knicks fan that my son is proud of.
So not a Knicks fan. All right, that's going to do it for Buckets. Appreciate you guys being with us. Thanks for joining us. Have yourselves a great Thursday and Friday when you're listening to this. On Friday, we will have best bets for Saturday's game as the Dallas Mavericks try and close out the Oklahoma City Thunder at home. Plus, we will have any other, if there's going to be a game 7, we will have best bets for that as well. Check that out tomorrow as Jay Money will laugh at me for doubting him when he said the Mavericks were going to win the series. Thanks for joining us. My thanks to David Payne, our producer, who was kind enough to actually to take time and jump on this call with us today. My thanks to Hutton Jackson, the video crew, getting this up over at youtube.com/The Action Network. Check out Buckets live Thursday night and Sunday. We'll have an episode as well. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you guys again next time. Till then, let's get buckets.